Yeah, hey, Ben. Good evening to you and your guests. Not going to make it long, but one of the things that I lived in California for a while, and one of the things they have out there is a process where you can't, even in normal times, not just in a pandemic, you just can't kick somebody out and expect them to find a place in 30 days or less. California, by law, at least you have to have a 90-day once you have certified and got everything by the courts to give to the renter. We should have something like that. But right now, even before the pandemic, we are very non-caring about some of these people and them trying to find a new place within 30 days, and they have financial problems. And also for homeowners who, myself, my taxes were $4,500 every year for property taxes in the middle of a pandemic, right after a tornado that had to stop the rebuilding process in Nashville. You have a Mayor Cooper, who decided this would be a perfect time to, after all of that, let's add a 34% increase, post all of that. One of the things that's happening, people don't have the money. That's why it makes Cash Advance America and Speedy Cash, it makes them billions a year because people don't have the money to carry over to the next check. And this shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be that way. It's not fair. And that's my 2 cents. Thank you.
That gap grew and grew exponentially more when COVID hit, just because of the circumstances of things. So in a lot of ways, we're talking about a problem that, it isn't going to be fixed overnight. And to Sarah's point, landlords shouldn't have to bear the burden for that. All of a sudden, it became a public health issue that if you didn't have a place to shelter in place, you were creating a risk for yourself and others to be exposed to the virus. And so we all did our part, and that's where the eviction moratorium comes in. That's why you see it come from the CDC rather than from HUD. But at the end of the day, landlords shouldn't have to be penalized for doing their part to help stop the spread. And these rental assistance funds from Congress, we're talking about billions of dollars coming into Nashville, coming into Tennessee, the likes of which I have never heard of, I have never seen. So this is just a really awesome opportunity for landlords and tenants to both cooperate in this program, get these rental assistance funds, avoid an eviction. I mean, it's really just such a perfect opportunity. And I know everybody's been saying this all night, but it's just so important to know about it and to take advantage of it, because it really is, again, it's not going to fix all of our housing problems, but it is a pretty remarkable opportunity that we have for both landlords and tenants.
And Carrie, let me ask you, so let's say the moratorium does end on the 30th. What do you think happens July 1st? What happens in the month of July if this moratorium in Davidson County ends on the 30th?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think people have been asking me this question for the last year of, it's set to expire. What do you think is going to happen? I think, for a long time, we've all been worried about just an eviction tsunami, just a total tidal wave, a cliff, pick your metaphor of just a wave of evictions that are coming. And I think, the big question is how efficiently and how effectively can we get this money out to the people who need it? Because that's going to be what determines what happens on July 1st and how many backlog evictions there are to be filed. I think that this does present a real opportunity for us to be able to, take it down to a more surfable wave if we're able to efficiently and effectively connect these funds with the people who need them. So that's another reason why it's so huge that people need to know, because that's really the kicker.
And Monty, you have about 2 minutes left to kind of wrap things up. You want to hammer home what?
Hammer home this, that while we're talking about evictions, moratoriums, et cetera, let's not forget about people who may have substance use disorder, be in recovery, people who may have a mental health diagnosis or issues with mental health. Understanding that there is resources and there are resources for them. Text TN 741-741-1855-Crisis-1, or they can call the Tennessee Red Line, 1-800-889-9789. I wanted to make sure we hammered that home, because a lot of people that are going to be dealing with evictions and possibly not having somewhere to live or somewhere to eat may have substance use disorder, may be diagnosed, may have a co-occurring substance abuse and a mental health diagnosis. We want to make sure they have access to resources. There's also, you can go to our tn.gov/behavioral health faith-based initiatives. There's a list of faith-based institutions and congregations that have resources all around Tennessee, not just Davidson County. And some of those resources are food pantries, clothing, toiletries, and other things that communities may need. Because the truth is that there are going to be some people that are probably going to be displaced, and they still need resources until they can be replaced or find other resources.
Well, thank you all. I mean, we could talk a lot longer about this, but I really want to thank you all. And of course, I like the advice also that if you don't have the internet, call 211. Be ready to be transferred around or make some other calls, but you can get some good information by calling that number. So thank you all for coming on and sharing your knowledge. We appreciate it. And I'm going to come back right after this, wrap everything up. I'll be back in one moment.